everyone, and welcome to another game of World of Warships. Today's replay is from Hassan T, and I'm terribly sorry if I'm mispronouncing that name. Now he's in the Midway, a tier 10 US carrier. He's on the map North, it's a 3-point domination game mode, there is only one destroyer per team, there is some anti-air going on there, so we will see how that works out. Now he has sent his fighters here towards the B and C cap, and we saw some enemy fighters there earlier, and his strikecraft is, well, it looks like it's going here towards a Des Moines. Now there is a big blob of enemy ships here, they have a Buffalo here, they have a Des Moines here, there is plenty of anti-air, so we will just see how effective he is. Now I don't cover carrier games that often, but you know, carriers are going away in their current form, so let's just take one more look. Now here we have the dive bombers incoming on a Des Moines, a good anti-air ship, and there we go. It's a devastating strike. Now, you know, a lot of people are concerned about the new carrier system, what I've seen, like that they can't have planes circling over one ship for a long time and drop again or things like that. But you always have to keep in mind just how wrong the current carriers are in many ways. Now, yeah, I mean, devastating strikes, it could also, like, a battleship could do something like that. But, like, you can't really angle against planes. And even a Des Moines, as you saw, can very easily get taken out. Now, obviously, there was some luck involved. But anyway, I mean, those were just the dive bombers. He obviously has torpedo bombers as well. So let's just see what he can do at the battleships. Once more, this is like 3 battleships here. There is also a Buffalo, so again, a decent anti-air cruiser. And well, I mean, he's lost a few planes here, but most of his torpedoes were dropped. He gets 8 hits, and he's already at 100,000 damage. And it looks like somebody's flooding here, so more's to come. Now, overall, I'm not sure why the friendly cruisers are that aggressive here. Like, we had a Des Moines suicide into A. I mean, I'm aware that there is only one destroyer, so some people might think they have to do capping for themselves. But, you know, you can't just charge like here with a Des Moines. And I'm not sure, like, those 2 cruisers, they seem to be in a decent enough spot, mostly because,
torpedoes to port.
Well, there are no enemy ships with good angles on them. But meanwhile, it looks like the enemy carrier has snuck his strikecraft in here. That explains why we haven't seen them, and got the drop on the Midway. But, you know, he is still alive, and that's basically the risk you take with trying to snipe the enemy carrier. So he survived. He's already done a considerable amount of damage. He has sunk a Des Moines, and the enemy carrier just wasted a lot of time to strike on him and achieved nothing right now.
Problem solved, sir.
So, as long as he can get away here and survive, then this is actually a pretty decent start like this. So, the friendlies got the B cap, the enemies got the C cap. And I assume the enemy will take A. It's a bit sad that there aren't more ships here, because the enemies at A are not that many. Like, if we had the Republik and the Musashi here, and maybe the Hindenburg or so as well. We also have quite a few ships here more going towards the seaside, even though there isn't much to friendly. Like, I feel like the friendlies should try to protect B and take A. That would be, I feel like, a good idea. Now, this also shows a little bit the limitations of a carrier, because what a carrier obviously can't do is he can't make people cap, he can't make people go. So, oh, look at that! So, another dive bomber strike on a lone tier pits here. I mean, tier pits can't defend themselves against the high tier carrier. And once again, you see, like, the power of current high tier carriers and just the sheer amount of damage they can do. And there is really nothing the enemy team can do against it. Like, the only one who could have protected, like the tier pits, for example, is the enemy carrier. And that's also something that is right now a problem. Like, carriers are not just in a 12 versus 12 battle, they are also in a 1 versus 1 battle, because the only one who can truly counter a carrier is another carrier with the fighter planes. And considering how many planes are involved, like, your planes can't be everywhere, and if your planes are, for example, fighting the enemy fighter planes, then they can sneak a strike through. then your planes sometimes need to rearm. It's like, playing a carrier is hard. Personally, I suck at it, because I never had much interest in it and I never bothered to learn it. So, I mean, I could never do what Hassan is doing here. But, well, I mean, here we have a Musashi. I've heard a lot of people like, oh, with the new carrier system, rip Musashi. Well, let's just see what happens to that Musashi with the old carrier system, because you know, it's not like a Musashi can do anything against the carrier right now. And it looks like we are having a little bit of lag here, but there you go. Not the perfect drop, but still pretty decent here. And there is some more. Now it looks like he hasn't used damage con yet, I believe, so we got another flooding, but he kept his damage con, and he's using it now. Still floating, but that Musashi was a lot healthier just a few moments ago. Enemy fighters are here to defend, but they were a little bit too late. So he might lose those planes, but he has still more than enough in reserve. And here comes a friendly strafe. The other fighter squadron is also here. He might be trying to lock them down and set up a strafe for his other squadron here. And we will see. Enemy fighters seem to just idle here. I mean, the thing is, the Musashi doesn't really have any anti-air, so fighting over the Musashi doesn't really... Well, it's not really a downside for the friendly. Meanwhile, we have more strike craft already routed this way, and there is a strafe. It looks like the enemy didn't pay much attention to the planes. So I think he's trying to use those fighters to maybe lock them down and then come in with strafe right here. Not sure what the enemy carrier here is doing. He's taking care of this squadron, I suppose. So we have one fighter squadron here down, a new one will spawn in a bit. And yeah, I think he now can just click on those fighters and should be nice. Now, the dive bombers are returning, so as we know, the Musashi survived the torpedo bomber drop barely and healed up a little bit. So now we have the dive bombers coming in to finish the job. I don't think that Musashi has much of a chance. Well, that's one. And here comes the next one. And that's a high caliber. It's 10 minutes into the game. He has already done over 200,000 points of damage. Got himself a high caliber. Now, on the bright side, the friendlies here are now finally taking the A cap. And it's not looking too bad, you know. If they get A now, and they also have a ship lead, should be pretty nicely. Now here we see an enemy drop, and look at that, the enemy Midway just sank a booster, the strongest anti-air ship in the game. Now I assume the defensive fire was down, and we don't know if some anti-air guns have been damaged. We also don't know what Captain build this guy was using, but yeah. Also keep in mind that, well, there's just one destroyer here. He could try to spot this guy, I suppose, if he is going this way. Right now, I guess he's using his fighters to protect his strike here against the Republic. And the second fighter squadron has not relaunched yet. Like, what you also have to keep in mind what a carrier could do while all of this is happening. He could, for example, keep a destroyer spotted. It requires more micromanagement, and it would require him probably to have this. Like, I mean, the fighters are already going where the daring was last spotted. And oh, look at this Republic. Was a lot healthier a moment ago, wasn't he? So yeah, and that's the old carrier system right here, and I think this game also shows quite a bit why it does need some change. And well, we'll see what the new carrier system brings. You also have to keep in mind there is only so much balancing and testing you can do on something like the test server. On the test server, people play vastly different from the real server. They might just pick ships they have no idea how to use, and if they know it's about carrier testing, they might just pick anti-air ships. There is always the destroyers who just wanna hunt down the carrier because they know people are testing carriers, so all they do is sail along the zone wall to hunt a carrier. And you know, shenanigans like this. So basically at some point they just have to take the new carrier system, roll it out and say we will do a lot of fine-tuning when it's live. And you'll see, I think like the old carrier system here, it's just so broken that they can't make it worse. Well, that's just my opinion, I guess. So the friendly team has lost a few ships here. It's still rather even, I suppose. The friendlies have 2 cap zones. Like, the thing is, the friendly ships are nowhere near to protect those, and unfortunately those fighters are a little bit too late to help this Republic here. So there's the daring. I mean, he could try to go spot that, but currently there is nobody really to take advantage of that. So I'm hoping that the friendly ships, either they need to push C and take it right now, or they need to go over here and defend. I think going over here and defend would be better, because, well, worst, there's the carrier, and they help protect the carrier. If the enemy team can push through a cap here, it'll be much more dangerous. And I mean, they can get closer to the Republic. The Republic is a little bit alone over there. So there is a strike incoming. The problem is he's currently just busy protecting his own strike. And he has fighters coming in here to defend, but I think they are a little bit too late. And this is just... it takes a lot of micromanagement and a lot of multitasking to be good at this game with carriers currently, which limits vastly how many people are active at carriers. And since carriers are so powerful, and since there is so much skill involved, it's very rarely, I feel like, that both teams have equally good carriers. And it's just so frustrating if your carrier is just not keeping up with the enemy one. But hey. We see the friendly team is finally going into C. The Republic here has been taken out, which means the enemy team can just push here. No friendly is actually trying to protect the caps here and engage those ships. If the enemy team can push here, the friendly carrier will be in danger. So Midway's already trying to escape here. And down goes the Dawn Squad. So now he can get a drop in on the Montana. We have enemy fighters coming. Friendly fighters are already here in order to protect the drop. But yeah, that seems reasonable. So casual 31,000 on the Montana. Now, I assume the enemy daring is going to take A, so the friendlies are going to lose that as well. We lost the Seattle here. And yeah, if it just had ships here, like if those ships, instead of pushing C, would have stayed here, they could help sink the Montana here, they could protect this cap, and they would stop the enemy team from pushing through here. Instead, I mean, it's like this Conqueror isn't like even going for C cap. I mean, at this point, I'm not sure what this Conqueror is trying to do. Like, the friendly team basically had the caps here on the left, so the friendly team went away from the points they had, and instead of now getting C, he's going towards the zone wall. I guess he wants to hunt down a Midway, which at this point seems pretty pointless. I mean, don't get me wrong, sinking the carrier is going to help, but it's like, takes way too much time. And here is the Montana. The Montana is pushing this way. We don't know where the daring is. It's possible the daring is also coming this way. The enemy team basically controls the map here now. He has his fighters here trying to protect the Hindenburg from a strike. Let's see how good that goes. So he's setting up a strafe here. And that looks like it's working pretty well. Now, you see the Hindenburg, it didn't even stay inside C. Meanwhile, the Montana has come close enough. Or it could be the daring. I mean, we don't know where the daring is, but he has been spotted here. which will be a problem. He's going to set up a strike, but he goes down. And, well, the enemy team has just way too many points. The friendlies don't care about the objectives, and this is a defeat. So, here we are with the results. Hassan earned himself 1,959 base experience. And, well, it was nicely done by him. He tried his best, but it also shows, like, no matter how powerful you are, if your team does not play their part, it's just not going to end well. And I mean, the enemy carrier also performed pretty well. So Hassan earned himself the Devastating Striker Confederate and a high caliber, scoring 331,000 points of damage. And yeah, so, you know, if you are concerned about the new carrier system, just look at what the old carrier system was able to do. And I feel like there is basically no way to make it worse. Also keep in mind that in the new system, people can't do damage and keep a lot of stuff spotted at the same time, so the versatility is already vastly limited, and I think also the damage potent is quite a bit limited. But we will see what happens. I personally look forward to the new carrier system. I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you guys next time.